Hello amigos! I'm Rod, this is Retro Project. You've heard of Trash to Treasure? This is Trash to Badass. Where we take a broken shell of an A1200 and turn it into something bad enough to scare Samuel L. Jackson. I hope you enjoy it.
It was the night before Christmas, and all through the house the Amigas were stirring and feeling quite grouse. "We must," said the 12. "But we can't," said the 5. Said the 2, "I'm just grateful we're all still alive." An intruder, a stranger, a wide-worldly ranger had disrupted the calm, and that could mean danger. A strange new arrival had graced their space. Fix me, cried the dirty old case. Can we help? Can we restore? Can this trashed 1200 be alive once more? It must, I say, and do it we can. We'll fix it up just like the fix-it-up man. We'll be bolder with solder than ever was told. We'll clean and replace till it doesn't look old. When it's done, this old trash, if I may be crass, will look decidedly super badass. We start with a well-used case and keyboard, kindly donated by a generous individual from the Sydney Amiga user group. All we need now is a motherboard. I picked up this non-working Rev 2B from eBay for a fair price. Conveniently, this board already appears to have been recapped. Convenient for us, but also probably the reason why it was sold as non-working in the first place. Beware folks, a bad recap can do more harm than good. Now after a few nights alone with Amiga PCB Explorer, I could find nothing wrong. No surprise there, as I have limited technical knowledge and could do little more than check for continuity. An excursion to the local user group, however, found the problem. A resistor under U49 had failed, holding the board in permanent reset. Once we fixed it, the board worked fine. Our excursion also resulted in a rather fortunate acquisition, but we'll come back to that later. Now to the next stage, the keyboard. Testing reveals this keyboard to be in about as good a condition as it looks, which is to say working, but with quite a lot of bad keys. There was a significant amount of rust that had collected on the membrane. Sadly, my attempt to gently wipe that off kind of destroyed the membrane. Note to self: when they say keyboard membranes are delicate, they really mean it. Now, I do happen to have a bunch of Amiga 500 keyboards lying around. The question is, can we use an A500 keyboard to repair an Amiga 1200? Both machines use the same cheap Mitsumi keyboard, such that you can swap keycaps and plungers between them, but while the A500 has the keyboard controller on the keyboard, the 1200 has the controller on the motherboard, and uses this awful flimsy ribbon cable to connect it. This might be an insurmountable problem for mere mortals, but not for us. Not today. It turns out that the Rev 2B has pads for a keyboard test socket, which is compatible with the Amiga 500 keyboard. And if you're as clumsy with a soldering iron as I, soldering to that is a lot more appealing than pins of the keyboard controller IC. So that's what we're going to do. Voila! Case, working motherboard, working keyboard. We're done. Well, nearly. First to the floppy drive. I was going to put a real floppy drive in, but it can't fit under the A500 keyboard, so a Gotek it will have to be. Naturally, we'll need a CF card for a hard disk and an IDE adapter. And finally, an LED board. This one was purchased from Amiga Kit and took a little bit of reworking to fit in the case next to the 500 keyboard. Sadly, the LEDs from the 500 keyboard had to be removed. Don't worry, it's the only destructive mod we'll need to make. Now to the most important thing, how it looks. we have a shabby, yellowed, stained case, and some equally yellow keys. If we were awash with money, we might buy a brand new case and keycaps, but it's not really trash to treasure if we just buy new stuff. So, the typical route here is to either bleach the plastics back to white, or crack out the spray paint and keycap stickers. We, however, are going to do neither. Instead, we're going to dye the case and the keycaps black. To do this, we're using IDyePoly with color enhancer. The process is fairly simple. Take a tub large enough for the case and 2 packets of dye. Mix the dye with boiling water and submerge the keys and the case in the lovely black soup. Keep topping up with boiling water to keep the temperature up. This is my first time dyeing an entire case, so cross your fingers and toes. BAM! If we take a look at the expansion cover here, I dare say it works. To be fair, you can see some patchiness on the inside, but after a coat of clear gloss, the outside looks rather good. Is it perfect? No. But it's cool, and cheap to do. And because the dye soaks into the plastic, it won't scratch off like paint. Oh, and did I mention this method preserves the key labels? No tacky stickers. The final touch will be a new badge, and we're finished. You can purchase new badges like this off eBay quite easily. Wait a minute, what was that surprise acquisition we picked up from the Amiga user group, I hear you ask? Well, behold the Blizzard 1230, the king of classic A1200 expansions, very kindly sold to yours truly for a fraction of its real value. This one came with 8 meg and no FPU. Fortunately, I found a 16 meg DIMM going cheap on eBay, and thanks to another kind donation, we have a 33 MHz FPU running very happily at 50. And there you have it. One badass A1200 back from the dead.
Well, thanks for watching, and take it easy.